Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Dean Rogers, and today I'm going to be talking about why I use and love ReSimpli as my CRM, and I can't wait to share all the different features that it has. Let's go! All right, first things first is the CRM. Now, the CRM basically runs and manages your entire lead and communication between you and your team. So in ReSimpli, it does that phenomenally. It tracks the lead from the point of having no contact to having contact to setting the appointment to making an offer to getting it under contract, and ultimately, if you're going to be wholesaling it, assigning it to the buyer. Now, if you're familiar with other platforms like Trello or Asana, it's a similar type of setup when you're on the leads dashboard. It shows you kind of a left to right progression of the status of the lead and makes it really easy visually to understand where it's at in the process. As you can imagine, having a CRM just to track your leads and knowing the status is going to be above and beyond than whether you're just writing these leads down on a piece of paper or like I did for years and tracking them in Google Sheets and color coordinating them. So I instantly saw a huge increase in our ability to track and follow up with our leads by having a CRM that tracked all this for us. And as I mentioned, having the ability to communicate and tag different team members allows everybody to stay in contact with each other and have communication on the actual CRM itself rather than going back and forth and using all these different platforms. Now, in ReSimpli, you have the ability within the lead to capture all the important information about the lead within the different questions you have, and you can customize those questions however you like. And then you'll see the activity log, which shows all the activity from the changing of statuses, scheduling appointments, communication back and forth within your team, taking notes, whatever activity is taking place, including phone conversations, which those are recorded and you can play back, to text messages between you and the seller. All that's captured right there in the activity log. All right, my next favorite about ReSimpli is the built-in phone system. Now, I found as I was looking at all these different platforms and CRMs to manage my leads, it was really difficult to find one that had as many features as ReSimpli did. In this case, the built-in phone system is one of the most powerful features because you're not going to be relying on a third-party system that you're then integrating to and trying to track those KPIs and just going back and forth between different systems. In this case, ReSimpli integrates with Plivo seamlessly, and you can purchase your numbers directly within the CRM. And then better yet, the way that it's set up is each and every number has a specific purpose. So in this case, the way I've set up my CRM is you attach your phone numbers directly to a specific lead source and then one layer further to a specific campaign. An example of that might be you purchase a number with your local area code and then you designate that that phone number is going to be for direct mail and it's going to be for your campaign absentee owners. So once you have your phone system set up, it seamlessly works within each lead. You're able to make your phone calls, you're able to send text messages back and forth, you're able to send and receive pictures. So that's all done right there in the CRM, just makes it super powerful rather than having separate systems. I remember when I first got started in for years, I worked to track my leads within Google Sheets, and then I used Google Voice for messaging and calling, receiving calls for my direct mail campaigns and other. It just got really messy and extremely hard to be able to track. ReSimpli has solved all of that problem and removes all of the KPI tracking that I had to do manually and automates 100% of it. The next best thing about the built-in phone system is beyond just the KPI tracking and being able to designate what lead source and campaign that phone number's for, is you're actually able to set up a very robust call flow for each and every phone number. In this case, a call flow is going to be from the top, starting who's going to be receiving those phone calls and how are they going to be receiving those phone calls. Is it in a specific phone number that's going to receive it? Is it many people that are going to be called simultaneously? Or is there a specific routing where the person has to dial 1 to reach sales, dial 2 to reach whatever department, right? Beyond that, you're able to control what times of the day certain phone calls are received. You're able to customize voicemails. You're even able to route the call, if it's a repeat caller, to maybe the specific person that's the acquisition manager for that lead. Or if you have something set up differently in your business, you can route it to whatever other specific number you want in a repeat caller situation. There's also the ability to have automated text messages go out if you have a missed call, and that just helps staying in touch with the seller. In the call flow, it also allows you to set up automatic tags and automatic drip campaigns. So in tags, you might want to set it up to be an automatic tag like probate, for instance. If you have probate leads coming in, maybe you want a tag in there that suggests that this is a probate and just lets you know that there's going to be some extra steps that take place on that lead. Maybe you have a Spanish campaign going on, Spanish speakers only. Maybe someone calls from that campaign, it automatically tags that lead as Spanish and then allows you to filter based on that tag. When it comes to the automatic drip campaigns, you might have a specific hot lead that's coming in from PPC, and you want, as soon as that lead comes in, you're automatically going to have a drip campaign initiated to where it messages them within the first minute. Maybe it messages them within 10 minutes. Maybe it sends a task to you to call them within that first minute. Whatever situation you're in, there's a couple different things you can do within the call flow to help automate your business. The next feature I'll talk about is tasks. When it comes to tasks, they're important for you to stay on top of the follow-up. Now in this case, ReSimpli has a great way allowing you to create tasks by a specific role, a specific person, and you can put all the details you want and of course when that task is due. Now for you and how you run your business, this could be extremely helpful for you to stay organized on what's most important first. So when it comes to us, we're going to set up a task in the system that might say follow up, but we go a step further and we try to put a little more context to it. So in this case, we might say follow up on our $200,000 offer. They wanted to talk about it with their family. The more information you put in there, the more it's going to help you when you do get that task reminder to remind yourself what it is you exactly need to do. And then when it comes to tasks, of course, when you've completed that, you can go in, mark it as completed, and potentially create a new one on what you need to do next. Maybe you followed up on the offer you made. They needed a day more. They needed to have this conversation, or they had some questions for you. You might create another task to follow up and stay in touch with them. The next feature is drip campaigns. Drip campaigns, if done right, can be a human-like response to stay in touch with sellers and make sure that you can remove some of that manual effort to continue following up with these sellers. Now, in some cases, a seller might have a good conversation with you, but then they just go missing and kind of fall off the face of the earth. Well, a drip campaign is really going to help you make sure you stay in front of them and continue reaching out without you having to manually do that every time. So you might set a drip campaign to follow up day 1, day 3, day 5, day 10, 1 week, 2 weeks, a month from then, so on and so forth, to continue making that effort to make contact with them. And again, the beauty of a drip campaign being automated is it just eliminates you having to do all of that. If you think about this at scale, and you might have 200 leads you're working, 300, 400 leads, instead of having to manually be in there all day long following up with people, you could set one click for a drip campaign and it will continue messaging these people until they respond. That just eliminates a lot of the extra work and makes your life easier. If you think about it, it's almost like you hired someone full-time to focus on following up, and all it took you was a one click, and there wasn't any additional overhead costs when it comes to actually hiring someone to do that. All right, next one here is file storage. Now, in ReSimpli, within a lead, you can store as much information as you'd like when it comes to documents, when it comes to pictures, and this essentially replaces the need for Google Drive. Google Drive is what we used to use to store all of our pictures, to store all of our purchase contracts, assignment contracts, all of our closing statements. In this case, this eliminates all of that, and we can keep it in the specific lead where all our communication, all of our updates are in that one central location. So for me, I love this functionality. In addition to replacing Google Drive, it also has some really great features that allows you to take full advantage of this functionality. Similar to Google Drive, you can create a folder and then share it. Now, some of the privacy permissions you have on that is you can share it for people just to view. You can share it to where they can view it and add files, and then you can share it where they can view, add files, and remove files. This is extremely helpful, and we've used it in many situations where we send a link out to a seller and say, hey, go ahead and upload your pictures here. That's going to allow them to upload the highest quality images or even videos, as we've used it for video testimonials, to receive that back rather than through a text message where the quality is just going to be reduced. We love this because we're able to store and track everything in one place and just makes our life easier rather than bouncing from system to system. The next feature I'll be talking about is e-sign. Now, e-sign is a critical part, especially where someone might be running a virtual business, to be able to send out your contract to get signed by the seller. Now, in this case, e-sign is essentially replacing DocuSign, HelloSign, whatever you might be using today, and streamlines the whole process of doing it right there within the CRM. Has all the same features that you would see within DocuSign, where you can add different fields, you can pre-enter in some of that information, where you can add initial boxes, signature boxes, date sign boxes, everything you typically sign and see and expect in one of these platforms. It'll even keep track of the status, allow you to send reminders, do whatever it is you would need to do and want to do, and then when it's done, you'll get an email that shows it was completed, and you'll see a timestamp and signature receipt on that signed document. It costs $1 per contract. They are using a third party that they're integrated with that seamlessly works within the CRM, and you can purchase those in bulk and just have those ready to go and fire out to sellers. All right, the next feature to talk about is the accounting and financials piece. Now, call me a nerd, but this is one of the sexiest things for me within the system, because as I was doing research trying to find the perfect CRM that we were going to use, I just couldn't find anything that did a good job at tracking the KPIs. Now, the reason ReSimpli is able to do a good job at tracking the KPIs is for two main reasons. The first reason is its built-in phone system and how that is tied to the lead source and the campaign. It tracks all of the number of calls, tracks the number of appointments, it tracks the number of deals you've closed, specifically tied to that phone number. Now, the other part two of how that ties all in together to accurately track your KPIs is the financials piece. Now, the financials piece essentially replaces QuickBooks and has all the same functionality to track each transaction that you have connected your bank account with. It'll track each transaction and allow you to see what that was for. If it was income, you can track it to the property you just closed on and the assignment fee you made. That, of course, will then be tied to that phone number and the lead source and the campaign. So then you can put all that information together and be able to see, okay, let me go look at my KPIs. So you go look at the KPIs, you can see for that lead source, you've spent this amount of money on marketing, you've made this amount in income, your cost per lead is this much, your cost per deal is this much. I mean, should I say any more? This is incredibly sexy. Now, to take it a step further, they also made it so when you're looking at these KPIs and seeing that you have this many leads that came in, this many deals that you've done, all of those things are actually clickable, and you're able to drill down and see specifically which leads or deals made up that result. So if I'm looking at my deals closed, and let's say there's 10 that I've closed for this campaign, I can actually click that number 10 and voila, there's the list of the 10 properties that I closed within that lead source and that specific campaign. And to me, I think that's incredibly powerful. So you can understand visually looking at that data and understand, wow, I remember 123 Main Street. I remember 7, 8, 9, 10 West Street. I remember those were great deals, and I can see right here it came from this lead source and this campaign. So this gives you real-time feedback, real-time analytics to let you know what's working for you, what's not, and you can see what's your return on investment for that specific lead source or that specific campaign. It's all broken down right in front of you, and to me, that's powerful. So I can say as a business owner, that's got to be my favorite feature of ReSimpli, is tying in those KPIs and the financials all together so I know exactly how my business is performing and where I should focus my time and effort. Okay, now to talk about a few other features that I personally have not configured and set up just yet, but they are fully available and ready to use. And I've done my research understanding the best ways to use them. So I am certainly going to make sure to highlight those for you guys. So starting out would be cash buyers management. Now, cash buyers is a whole thing that people are probably tracking in Constant Contact or MailChimp or just have on their phone. Now, for me, someone who has a lot of buyers and understanding what their specific wants and needs are, I want something that's robust and is able to track all that information. Luckily, in ReSimpli, it's been developed that way so you can track all your buyers, what specific areas they're interested in, whether that's by city or zip code, what price points they're interested in. You can track all that detailed information, what's their source of funds, whether it's cash, private money, hard money lender, whatever it is, you can track all of that right there within the system. To make it better, you can actually communicate directly with them just like you would a seller within the CRM. So that's awesome to keep it all in one place. You can also send your properties out to your target buyers. And as more functionality is going to be coming out, as I've been meeting with the development team, understanding that you're also going to be able to have the ability to receive offers and really accept an offer right there within the system and automate that whole process on the disposition side. So that's pretty incredible. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. And I am positive as I continue moving forward and more of the feature functionality continues to come out related to the cash buyers, we'll be switching over to it, and I'll be able to probably do another video on this and show exactly how we're using it and what I like best. Next feature here is list stacking and skip tracing. Now, if you don't know about list stacking, it's an important fundamental piece of marketing because it allows you to take all your different data that you've brought together, whether it might be an absentee list or a free and clear list or an out-of-state list or probate or divorce, maybe it's liens, whatever it is. If you're able to pull all those different lists together and stack them on each other, you can see that 123 Main Street happens to show up on 3 lists. You might want to then look at what those 3 lists are, and you might be able to identify that there are multiple high motivation lists, and then determine that the likeliness that they're going to want to sell is going to be higher than someone else who's on a less motivated list. Of course, there's no crystal ball or perfect list, but at least this gives you a leg up to not only understand if a particular property is on multiple lists, but it also allows you to reduce marketing to that person over and over and over again because you're able to stack and see they're on 3 lists. You're not going to mail them 3 different times on those 3 different lists. You'll mail them that one time and be able to stay ahead of understanding how you're spending your money and which people you're targeting. And then of course, skip tracing is just as important of getting your list together because ultimately you're likely going to want to use cold calling as one of your strategies for marketing. And in order to do so, you're going to have some contact information for that. So skip tracing, you can use several different services to do that. And ReSimpli happens to have that built right there within it. So if you're in ReSimpli and you upload your list within the list stacking module, you're then able to skip trace that data right then and there, keeps track of it all in the same place, just makes it super easy to be able to keep track of it. All right, and the last feature to talk about today is gonna be Driving for Dollars app. Now, this is right there within the ReSimpli app, which I haven't even mentioned yet, and you can turn this functionality on while you're driving around and identifying properties that you want to add to your Driving for Dollars list. Benefit of this is obviously you don't have to pull out a notepad and write down a specific address. You can pull up the app, enter in the address, or click right on it on the map, and it will add it right directly to your list. And that sums up pretty much all the different features. As I mentioned, there's an app as well, which we use to pull up, look at all of our leads, make phone calls directly from, send text messages from. And for me, I think that's almost just as important as a very powerful desktop app is having the ability to have it on the fly, use your phone as you're walking around the house, going on appointments, and being able to have real-time information right in front of you and take action on it rather than having to be tied to your desk. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. This is just my favorite CRM that I have seen and tested. I can't tell you how many other people that I have talked to that have tried to implement other systems that are the best of the best and have failed. They've either spent thousands or tens of thousands of dollars trying to implement, months on end trying to get them up and live. And I can tell you, because I'm the nerd who spent time configuring and setting up ReSimpli for our company, it took very little time. We were up live and running right away. I took all my leads that were in my existing CRM, which was actually Google Sheets, gave it to their support team in the specific columns that they needed, and we were able to upload those leads and make them active leads in the certain statuses we wanted. And then from there, all I had to do was configure and set up the different phone numbers that I needed for the lead sources and campaigns, and then I was up and running. So that took me less than a week to do, and from there, we've just continued to put all of our time and effort in just this one tool rather than chasing all these other different things around. And I will say that Podio is probably by far the #1 CRM used by most people. See a lot of other people starting to go towards Salesforce and other different things that people have built on Salesforce. I had 2 failed implementations of Podio just because I could see it being a customization nightmare that I would drive myself crazy through, and it wasn't going to even automate the things that I thought it was going to with the bolt-on Frankenstein type of solutions that it had. So I can say with certainty, I know the owner personally. He is very dedicated with a very large team of developers to make this the best CRM. It doesn't come without its bumps and bruises where there might be an error or a bug that you might find as they're adding new feature functionality. We, of course, bring that to their attention right away. They jump on it and squash that bug. Now, if you want to check out ReSimpli and give it a try, go ahead and go to resimpli.com/Dean. Check it out. You'll get a percentage off of your first month, and I hope you like it. I have absolutely fallen in love with it. I currently work closely with some of the other members and the owner themselves to make sure that they continue to deliver the best of the best that's available and continue to enhance the features and make sure that the features that are there are working the best of their ability. So I'm extremely invested when it comes to having our business be successful on it. I truly think that it's the best CRM that I've seen. Hope it's valuable and helpful to you guys. Until next time, peace.